Encouraging people to stop and smell the roses?
Our national emblem. God save the Queen.
Familiar spine? Is this what I found in my dustbin? The pot is damaged. The blow was severe, but softened by something. It must take patience and care to produce a bloom so beautiful.
I imagine so. I merely sell them. Anything tickle your fancy, Mr. Holmes?
My condolences, Mrs. Fleming.
Mr. Holmes?
Your husband's death. You're clearly still in mourning.
Oh, no. I loved him more than anything, of course, but that was some time ago now. Life goes on.
A lesson we all learn, one way or another. I'll be off. Hello there. What's your name?
Lily. I know, not very original.
What do you make of the flowers in Barnes' shop window?
Well, they could use a bit of water.
Do they mean anything to you?
Mean anything how? I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Holmes.
Why do you think they're there?
Are you suggesting the flowers are for me?
It seems likely, does it not?
Oh, I hope you're right. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller.
One of these things is not like the other.
Come again?
The cactus. Those fearsome spines can prove a devil to remove, and the sap is often toxic.
And a rose thorn can give you tetanus, but we still grow them. The cactus seems comparatively harmless, though you have me thinking it must be valuable.
I was under the impression that you knew its price already.
Your guess is as good as mine. The first time I saw this cactus was when I came back from my break. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller. I'm afraid I can't help with that, Mr. Holmes. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller.
I'll be off.
Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight? Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
I'll be off. Are you familiar with Mr. Barnes?
Yes. No, not really. Well, in a way.
What on earth does that mean?
I know who he is, of course, but we haven't shared much more than a look.
A look?
Yes. Each morning I go for a walk in the park with my dog, and most days I spot Mr. Barnes there with his new puppy. So we see each other. Actually, we once met briefly while our dogs played. He was quiet and seemed unsteady as he approached. But since then, we've never spoken. I often see him staring through the shop window. Sometimes I wonder what he thinks about that would etch such longing onto his face. The weather is dreary, isn't it? To be fair, my flowers could use the rainfall. I should have worn something warmer. People don't tend to come out for flowers when it rains. Perhaps I should try selling door to door. Have a look at my flowers. They will not bite unless you touch their thorns. Have a look at my flowers. They will not bite unless you touch their thorns.
I think perhaps I have been chasing shadows.
Do not despair, Mr. Holmes. Even the best of us make mistakes. We better tell Mr. Barnes what we've learned.
Have a look at my flowers. They will not bite unless you touch their thorns.
Mr. Barnes, I know what you did, and I know why you did it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Holmes. I can't hear you very well from behind the door.
You ordered a cactus from the plant catalogue and then left it for Mrs. Fleming as a gift. You place flowers in the window to get her attention and wear high heels to appear taller and more desirable. You are her secret admirer. I couldn't read this morning's edition of The Strand because it was covered in soil and spines. I know you dropped a cactus on it and then fled.
Barnes, it's Dr. Watson. Rest assured we are not interested in disclosing your personal affairs to anyone, including Mrs. Fleming. Please come out.
All right, then.
So, you know what happened then? I was on my way back from the post office, having picked up the cactus and some books. It was quite an awkward package, heavy too, and when I got to your door, I dropped the cactus and your paper. Forgive me.
I needed that paper to prove a theory and prevent a crime. Your actions were rather disruptive. Your clumsiness carrying the post is matched only by the clumsiness of your romantic gesture.
Oh, it's true. I am useless with this sort of thing. I'm not even sure if Mrs. Fleming noticed.
As in most things in life, truth is the answer. Cease with the abstruse signals and anonymous gifts, and simply talk to the woman. What is the worst that can happen? She rejects you, and you are freed from this endless purgatory.
Yes, you are correct, of course. I do have a slight tendency to overthink things. Thank you.
So, at last, we return to the matter of the paper. I'm investigating a string of burglaries. Did you perhaps read of any before the edition was spoiled?
I don't recall, but you're welcome to read our copy for yourself.
You had an issue of The Strand here all along?
Well, naturally. I am a bookseller. I have a subscription to every magazine and newspaper in London.
So you ought to be familiar with the concept of burying the lead.
Oh no, my apologies, Mr. Holmes. I'll make it up to you however I can. I am an expert on obscure languages and translation and.
Yes, okay. Just give me the paper. Come, Dr. Watson. Let us put this matter behind us.
Farewell, Mr. Barnes. I hope to hear good news about you and Mrs. Fleming.
Let me know if there's any way I can make it up to you. Tell you what, tomorrow's edition of The Strand is on me. Okay, not just tomorrow. A whole week's worth. How does that sound? You're right, I could do more. Next time you move house, I'll be there to help. I'm great with boxes. And feel free to consult my books whenever you like. I could be an asset in one of your investigations. And feel free to consult my books whenever you like. I could be an asset in one of your investigations.
Well, that was an utter waste of time.
An assassination did seem rather unlikely.
There was supposed to be another burglary. I was certain of it. Something you wish to say, Doctor?
No. Well, only that you have a remarkable faculty for deduction and pattern recognition, and that perhaps, if ill-applied...
I see things that are not there.
Yes. It is London. There will always be burglaries. Doesn't have to mean anything.
So it seems. Forgive me. Without something to occupy my mind, I turn into an entirely different animal.
Which brings us back to my news from earlier. I think I have a case for you, a real one.
Truly?
Indeed. Though perhaps not as thrilling as your stories from Cordona. A patient of mine, Captain Stenwick, told me that his servant disappeared. I said I knew just the man to help. What do you say?
Oh, Watson.
Yes, I know it's not the most tantalizing mystery, nor the story to launch my writing career. But...
it's brilliant. Let's go.
Oh, good. Well, his house is nearby. Come. Not much further now.
Is this lousy attitude of yours because of my altercation with Inspector Lockhart? Did he put you up to this?
Sir, the inspector has nothing to do with it. I'm telling you the same thing I tell anyone seeking a missing person.
Good day, gentlemen. Forgive the intrusion. Captain Stenwick, this is my colleague Sherlock Holmes, the consulting detective I told you about.
At last, a professional. This useless officer refuses to do anything about Kimmy here, my missing servant. What was your name again? I shall be certain to inform your superiors.
Sergeant Ruffles. And it's my superiors who made this decision, sir.
Have there been other disappearances lately?
Of course, here and there. But when life is tough and opportunity comes knocking, you can't blame those who answer.
Why has the police department decided not to help?
We investigate murders, thefts, fraud, arson, real crimes. A servant walking away from his master is not our highest priority. That said, if we find Kimahia breaking the law, we'll be sure to notify Captain Stenwick. Now, I must be off. Best of luck in you, sir.
You heard that, didn't you? The way that man spoke to me. I shall need your written testimony. Then we can lodge a complaint.
Captain, perhaps Mr. Holmes' time is better spent learning about your servant, so that he may begin his investigation.
Ah, yes. Quite right. Fire away.
When did you last see your servant?
Kimmy here normally brings me the morning papers, but yesterday I had to get them myself. He must have escaped the night before yesterday.
May I see your servant's bedroom?
His shack is in the garden. You can't miss it.
Did you search the room?
Of course, but only to check he wasn't lying dead inside. Everything seemed normal at a glance.
Is there any reason Kimahia may have left?
I should think not. He had all he could have wanted. Gainful employment, new clothes, and all the cabbage he could eat.
I take it this is the first time Kimahia has vanished?
Undoubtedly. The man seemed terrified of the city. I think it was all the noise. He never left this estate. Should he cause any damage, I will bear the responsibility, for it was I who rescued him from savagery and brought him here to England in the first place.
Did Kimahia make off with anything of value?
Heavens, no. I would have mentioned it to Sergeant Ruffles.
Still, he must have fled with some money on his person.
No. I kept his wages in my safe. For security.
Tell me about Kimahia.
He's foreign. A Maori. All the way from New Zealand. Biggest man you've ever seen. And as strong as two. Dark hair and fearsome tattoos. He doesn't speak a whit of English. Never bothered to learn. But I made do with pointing. I invested a lot of money in him, so he must be found.
Tell me about Kimahia.
He's foreign. A Maori. All the way from New Zealand. Biggest man you've ever seen. And as strong as two. Dark hair and fearsome tattoos. He doesn't speak a whit of English. Never bothered to learn. But I made do with pointing. I invested a lot of money in him, so he must be found.
Did Kimahia make off with anything of value?
Heavens, no. I would have mentioned it to Sergeant Ruffles.
Still, he must have fled with some money on his person.
No. I kept his wages in my safe. For security.
All right, Captain. I think I have enough to get started. We shall first take a look around the mansion.
Go ahead. I'll be here, mentally drafting my complaint.
chewing tobacco. A shoe print, roughly size 11, with a worn-out sole. These are a workman's boots. Looks like a knee print. Someone knelt here. The amount of chewing tobacco suggests they were waiting a while.
Amazing, Mr. Holmes, to read the ground like an open book.
This lock is quite unusual. It appears that the key should be bent to the right. The rag reeks of smoke. Someone plugged the chimney. Clothes made of Hessian. Is Stenwick really so miserly? A Maori nose flute. Ngurus, they're called. No air coming through it. Button chops, the remains of a meal. A heavy chemical odour. Lend me your nose, Doctor.
Ah, I'll never forget that smell after my time in Afghanistan. That's an opioid, Mr. Holmes, a narcotic.
The ashes are long since cold. A scrap of Hessian. These were sturdy boxes. It would have required a serious blow to break them. Impressive. The sack of grain retained the shape of an impact. Someone hit their head here. A small navy spyglass.
Stenwick makes his servant live in a tool shed. You think you know someone.
I thought you were meant to be intelligent.
Is this spyglass familiar?
I don't recognize it.
Could it be Kimahir's, perhaps?
I doubt it. I never saw him with it, nor could I suggest how he might have come by it.
I came across a pile of Hessian clothes in the shack. Are they Kimahir's?
Yes. I had to give him something to clothe himself. He seemed unfazed by his bare skin, but I found it distracting. Where on earth are you going with this?
The door to your garden has an interesting lock.
Yes, I have uncommon locks on every door of my mansion. It makes them harder to pick. Kimmy here and I both had a set of keys.
I'll need to borrow them.
No, you'll need to do what I tell you to do. Examine the garden. Where on earth are you going with this?
Do you happen to know Kimahir's shoe size?
I wouldn't have the foggiest. But I'm sure it was enormous. Not that it matters. He spent his life barefoot. Despite my best efforts, he simply did not take to shoes.
Has Kimahir ever indulged in tobacco?
No, the man doesn't even drink.
Are you certain? I found chewing tobacco in the garden.
I controlled Kimahir's expenses since he struggled with the currency. I would have known if he used tobacco. Why are you still here?
Do you think Kimmy here had an accomplice in his escape?
If you find my man, I have a marvelous whiskey with your name on it. This dreary rain is making a miserable day even worse. Are you stupid, Mr. Holmes? Stop loitering and go and do your job. Are you stupid, Mr. Holmes? Stop loitering and go and do your job.
Yes, Stenwick is no angel, but he's one of my few clients. Please, try to remain courteous. This disappearance is intriguing, no? I cannot make head nor tail of it. This disappearance is intriguing, no? I cannot make head nor tail of it. This disappearance is intriguing, no? I cannot make head nor tail of it.
Could have left these tracks. They seem fresh.
This disappearance is intriguing, no? I cannot make head nor tail of it.